Let's take a look at the red zone O first. Mattster, what do you got for us?
All right, so we're in the New England Patriots playbook. In the gun empty ace Patriot formation, there is a play spacing, and it essentially does just that.
Do you want to move? Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, that's an important part of the red zone is the red
to
zone
be in the red zone.
So it's essentially a play that creates spacing. Pretty much all I do on this is I put R1 on a hitch. Now, it has been a while since I've used this, to be fair. But as long as nothing has changed in the game, this should be a wide open touchdown. Yep. Just like that. So his normal hitch, the one that he's on when you just call the play, is not really too good for some reason. If you put him on a hitch, so that's triangle R1 and then RB, or RT, R2 rather, you're going to get this hitch. And then he is wide open. Very simple.
I was going to user it, then I felt like that's kind of cheating. Is there any way of taking advantage of the user here? So that way, like, they don't just, like, sit on that route or some of these routes? Like,
yeah, watch. So go run over there.
Something like right here? Yeah.
Yeah. Like, you low ball that right, depending on how it's essentially reading that hook zone at that point. Mm-hmm. So if you're using the guy on the right, you have to read the hook zone on the left. If you're using the hook zone on the left, well, I think both those guys are open at that point. I'm not 100% sure, but it should just be fairly simple. Low ball to the left. Yep, and then he just dropped it because it's Sanu. And for some reason, Madden Sanu is just not built. But,
so would this be like a good formation if you have QB draw to QB draw against, too?
If you had QB draw.
Yeah.
Or if you just have a 5 wide with this play. I don't know all the 5 wides that have it, but I do know this one does. So, like, right there, obviously the hook zone played left. You want to throw the other hitch. Of course, now that I want to just lock in on one, it's making decisions by itself. But
what about base align? Will that make it harder?
It shouldn't. Ooh. And then Jalen Ramsey sometimes.
Yeah, but you get a lot of Jalen Ramseys in Mutt, so like.
That is true. Well, not even. It depends. Like it also is easier on certain hashes. So if you're in the left hash, that guy on the right will be a lot more open. So like if you see this, like he'll have even more space.
Good point.
So it just comes down to that too.
I got a question. Would you ever throw, like, say if I baseline press, show blitz like this, would you ever throw that Coleman like fade, or is that just not working, Madden?
Oh, like this?
Yeah. Like high point, and touch pass it or something like that. Try it out.
Probably not, but
you would never throw it.
No, because like I can't ever get it off in time.
Oh, you don't have it.
It's essentially just throwing an ag. And if I was gonna throw an ag, it would definitely be a curl.
So you throw like an egg to like Paulson or something in the middle.
Yeah, or I mean, I could try something like this. Try and just be mean, but yeah.
Yeah, Ramsey's gonna break that up.
I mean, if I put Levine Toilolo, they don't have Levine Toilolo anymore.
Oh, son of a gun.
I hate to see that.
Yeah. So that's unfortunate that they don't. They don't have like that fade route. Like in the NFL, that fade route is basically what you see a lot of goal line offenses go to. It's unfortunate,
That's how we won the game.
What's that?
That's how we won our last game.
Yeah, with the Dolphins.
Xavier Howard picked that off.
So it's unfortunate Madden doesn't have any type of like representation of that.
Yeah, it's hard because at what end does that become? It's really hard because you see that and you're like, man, every NFL team does this. They get their star player, their jump ball player, and they run a fade. Yeah. Or they don't even run with the tall player. But like in Madden, what else can you do to stop that? Think about it. Like what can you do to stop it?
Yeah, Julio in the corner. Like just basically it's 1-on-1, right?
Yeah, like there's no real skill gap to stopping it.
Yeah, I got you.
If you can throw it.
So Gucci Polo, we talked about running with a QB. If you have a draw in your formation, it's a good idea. If they're spread out like I was, but like this, like a QB draw against this, you're probably not gonna have a good time.
Oh no, we're right here, Mike Vick.
What am I talking about? You got it anyways. But yeah, Mike Vick's, you just draw with Mike Vick. So this is in the Patriots book, and they have this spacing. So if you have this spacing concept, go to this in the end zone. Is there any type of like do you ever run any like low like drags and throw it low, or are you gonna hit your offensive lineman? Or is there any other ways besides
You're
just spacing
definitely
plays?
gonna hit offensive linemen if you do that. I mean, you could do things like this. This should work. I haven't tested this, but outside hitches with a flat route are generally pretty good. So like if you want to do this on the left side, you can. So he's gonna fit in there, low ball passing inside, and so in this case it didn't work.
Should you do it to the
And
wide side of the field though?
You could. This isn't necessarily a play that I've tested it out of. It's just something that I know is decent. So like we got this here. This should work to the wide side, I would think. You just low ball pass the inside, and then hopefully that doesn't happen, and he runs out of the end zone.
Yeah.
But for the most part, because the hard flat has to respect the flat route, and then the hitch is going to stay inside of the deep quarter is what
So
it comes
the
down to.
baseline kind of screws it right there.
Okay, Julio really is fighting me. No, you can still throw it. I don't understand why. I don't know if it's Matt Ryan missing throws or Julio just disagreeing with wanting to catch it. But there we go.
Okay.
That's what you generally will see. Maybe it just comes down to having a better quarterback. I'm not sure.
So you put the hitch on the field to your square and then a flat onto.
Well, he's already on a hitch, but
Oh.
you can't do it. You can't hot rod that. It needs to be a play with a stock hitch.
Oh, a stock hitch out there. I gotcha.
Yeah.
There's not many of those, are there?
No, it's a lot of times you see in like Smash Concepts is where you'll see it.
Oh yeah. So smash concepts in a lot of playbooks. So
Yeah.
wide side of the field do that.
And certain ones you can do it to the short side too.
Yeah.
It's not like exclusively the wide side. It just
That's a very
happened
dangerous throw.
It looks more dangerous than it is. Like I tried passing it up so Julio didn't fight me there. So like you can mess with it a little bit, but it's just another thing you can mix in. It's not a thing that you'd want to call every play because they're obviously going to start lurking that.
What about a cover 2 hard flat?
That should work the same
Okay.
because the flat route's going to pull out the hard. It'll be even easier against cover 2 hard flat. So like watch, do that here. You'll see that it's more than likely easier. Now the vert hook might go wild, and if it does, well, that's unfortunate, but more than likely he won't. Yeah.
That's even more open, yeah. Well,
Yeah,
still made a
and then
play.
that was just Julio just not being built in practice mode. But I wouldn't be worried about Julio catching that in game. And then if you do, for some reason, get worried about the vert hook, you'd always do something like this. Just put him here. Say bad vert hook. Wow, he played that in deep F. That's interesting.
Yeah, I don't know, man. That looks pretty. That looks pretty rough. That looks like a pretty tough throw.
It looks scarier than it really is. Practice mode has fought me a lot in this test, but it might make more sense to put a curl on the field in this case against cover 2. I don't see too much cover 2 in the red zone, so it's not really something.
No, I don't see it a whole lot either. But I see what you're saying.
Like, there's a few things you could do to kind of counter the counters. And something that I've mentioned each week is kind of like this game really is a counter game. Like you need to kind of, if somebody's countering what you're doing, well, you got to have the counter for their counter, and just being aware of that. It's like now, you have this, then it's like okay, well, there's no spy because you can't have a spy at this point, and then you take off. So it's like it's a lot of
Yeah.
a lot of that
Scrambling the end zone. All right, so
Yeah.
basically, yeah, those are good tips for getting the end zone. Like besides for just running the ball, those are good red zone plays. Basically, those hitches. I think I'm in Detroit D. All right, so that's a solid red zone. What else? Like, do you do any? Is Madden 19 a year of like a crosser to the back of the end zone, you throw it high, or is it more like curl routes? I see a lot more curl routes. What about like corners from a tight end? What else? Do you see?
Here I'll show you. So if I come out and PSI corner.
Okay.
This is why you don't really like. I don't really like crossers in the back of the end zone this year. Like technically it's post, but it's a crosser post. I mean, it bumps a lot sooner. So like if you throw it, you're just gonna get picked, right?
So you're saying it bumps against the back of the end zone?
Yeah, and it stops a lot sooner. So like they aren't really as good. So like I can't really throw anything there unless there's just no zone on the field.
What about?
So
yeah.
it's just not as good. Now corner routes are kind of the same thing. Now the thing is about corner routes that sometimes they sit in better spots, but for the most part you're going to see a whole lot of that.
Yeah.
So that's why I choose not to do that too much.
Okay.
Utilizing flat routes to pull out hard flats are going to be one of your best friends in the red zone.
Okay.
So stuff like this where you just have some simple kind of corner route or a simple kind of flat route, in route, something like that. And just lowballing that, and then Matt Ryan. My entire team is really fighting with me.
So flat
I
route,
picked
in
Matt
route
Ryan.
combo is another good goal line.
Yeah.
Like, what would you, okay, so besides for being on the 2-yard line, what if we back it up to like the 8-yard line? What would you run at the 8-yard line?
I would run.
You would run the ball?
Yeah. I didn't think that would work. I was just kind of curious. The 8-yard line, like the 20-yard line and in, is probably the hardest spot in the field to score. I don't think the 5 is that big of an issue. I think the 20 is where it becomes an issue. Because a lot of your deeper routes aren't threats. So, like, you look at this post, right? You don't really have to cover this post with the user. So then on this play, you're like, oh, well, what else do I have? And you got to start doing some weird stuff. Like you might have to do something like this. But you don't have to use the post, so it's kind of like, well, why would you not just use the slant? So this is definitely one of the harder spots in the field to score. Now, in this case, actually, I think I'm going to be able to get this. But even that throw was close. And once again, you see my team is completely fighting me.
Yeah. So where would you say is like you're saying with outside of the 10 to 20-yard line, you don't like to pass the ball?
That's the hardest spot in the field to move the ball, in my opinion.
Huh. Even inside the 10, you think it's easier to move the ball with the pass?
Yeah.
Wow.
Because you know exactly what you're going to get.
Okay.
You know what zones are going to do because they're going to play off the back of the end zone because they all play consistent off the back of the end zone. So it doesn't really matter what coverage they're in. You kind of know what they're going to do.
Okay.
But at this point, they could kind of mix up coverages. They know that they have to lurk the one high read. So you got to start mixing in ways to double flat. But the issue is people know that because they don't have to take away a high read. So it becomes very hard to score in the red zone at this point. In the NFL red zone, I say the Madden red zone is like the 5-yard line. The NFL red zone is obviously the 20-yard line. So the NFL red zone is actually the hardest spot to score in Madden.
So do you have a video breaking down what every single zone near the end zone does?
No, the person who actually had done it last year was AntCap. I think his YouTube account is Smart Madden.
Okay.
And that was a really good video. That's actually where kind of gave me a lot of ideas for what to do on offense.
Is it consistent to this year? Did the zones stay the same?
Pretty much. That's where I got that flat route hitch concept was from
that video.
Something I realized when watching that video.
Okay.
So, for the most part, yeah. It's not really something that I think they changed. So.
Because, like, basically what his video was, I saw it. Some zones sit within 5 yards of the back of the end zone, and then, like, some hook zones sit within 3 yards of the of the front. So. And
then flats were 2.
Yeah, flats are 2. So basically, you're just looking for that kind of stuff. But like out here, they drop that same distance. They drop that. That's the farthest back they'll go. Like the deep zones will go back right here. The hook zones won't go that far. They'll sit like 15 yards of the line of scrimmage, like right here. To my knowledge, we could try it here. I'll get off. Just run it. Let's see where these hook zones go to.
Well, you're also shading down, so it's.
Oh right, yeah, shade down, so they're gonna play.
But even then, he went 15 yards. Actually, exactly 15.
Yeah.
We're gonna try and beat great. Oh wow.
So it's still 15 yards. That was based. That's what I saw last year. I'll shade up here in the cloud flats, so you can watch what the hook zones and so they go to 15 yards, 17 yards. Looks like
he's about there.
Yeah, right there.
Missile.
With the crosser coming into his zone, he like backed up a little bit. So they will go stretch to the end zone, but that's about their depth. Like now, like vert hooks play a little bit better with verts than they did last year. Oh, these are hook curls though. Let me see if I can get a. Do I have a vert? No, I don't have verts on this.
Well, you just audible to cover too.
Okay, right, yeah. So now we have verts mid reads. We can see how far they drop off the line of scrimmage here.
They should. I mean, I think the vert would carry the streak. Well, the mid read will regardless.
Yeah.
They don't drop as far because the mid read.
Yeah, mid read covers them deep middle.
Yep.
So, yeah, I mean, so I guess you're right here. The thing is, like, what would you call if you're on defense in the red zone on the 20-yard line? Would you call it cover 2?
It really depends on what the offense is doing. Certain sets, they do a bad job of attacking the sideline. I'd probably call cover 2 against those sets. Other sets that attack the sideline well, I'd probably mix in cover 3, card flats and clouds, then cover 2. Just mix it up. You don't want to give up too many yards, but at the same time, you do need to force a stop. So it's really just trying to find that balance of what's going to get you the stop. You really don't need to play aggressive. Is probably the best way of saying it. But you don't want to play too conservative to the point where somebody's going to fall forward for a first down, right?
Okay. So like you wouldn't blitz in the red zone.
Unless you have like 4 or 5 man heat, or you really need a stop. Probably not. Let's see if I can throw this. Woohoo!
Nice. So that'd be my cloud flat. All right, I could put on Tampa 2. Did I put on Tampa 2 that last play? I don't remember.
No, I did. You definitely didn't.
Yeah, I think it was a cover 4 last play. So interesting. So like defense play. That's what I've kind of done this year is play more conservatively in the red zone area because I try to make the offense beat me because like people know like people in the high end ladder know how to throw hot when they recognize a blitz very well and they can throw hot and they have the reads short, quick and long. So that's kind of where I stopped a lot of high-end players is in the red zone area. It does feel even like at the top of the ladder, the red zone's still the toughest area for people to score, and then really where you play your defense.
Yeah, I mean that's where it is. I mean, half my stops are in the red zone, and it just comes down to like, okay, well, there's not really a lot of red zone glitches this year. I've tried, I've looked hard, and I'm still gonna keep looking, but there's really not that much anywhere near as the amount as there were last year.
Okay.
So like it's definitely a lot harder to score in the red zone.
Yeah.
Especially again not having those like kind of outside fades or anything like that. Like you really need to get a player wide open.
Yeah.
Or you need to chuck an ag.